Well, let's see if that works. What a pain in the ass. Not my job, I guess, today. I hope it's working. It seems like it is, but let's see. The every time my computer has an issue after I've rescheduled the stream, it doesn't want to come back to life. So let's hope that it's working this time. I don't know. Welcome to Risk Neutral Trading. This is my virtual trading journal. It's apparently live, I hope. Let's see. It seems to be. Yeah, okay. Where the hell am I now? Let's get going. So the this is my virtual trading journal. It is risk neutral trading. The idea here is that all of my screens capture everything I'm looking at, and my voiceover provides some indication as to what I was thinking at the time. My commitment is to be completely transparent and fully accountable. No trades are taken on this account off of the stream. That's why the streams last from 8 o'clock in the morning until 1500 every afternoon. Central Standard Time. All of my times and charts are Central Standard Time. I'm not licensed to provide financial or trade advice. Test the chat here. Okay. And I don't intend to do so, but I do trade live on my Bookmap, via Bookmap on my Live AMP futures trading account funded by me. So, there it is. I use Bookmap. I use IRT as my charting, and I got a couple of news sources I rely on. So, yeah, this is one of those crazy mornings here where I'm a little bit, morning, Poppy. Yeah, so issue with the, glad you found the right stream, and the non-farm payroll has come and gone. Unbelievably, almost double. So, doesn't seem like that may or may not be, the, I don't know what to say. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, so here we are. Let's look at the reports, I guess. I guess everything's working now. It's the numbers here. I'm trying to get back into the cadence here. Always throws me for a loop when everything goes south. Well, that ought to tell you about everything you want to know there. I mean, come on. Double non-farm payroll? Double? I'm not so sure about that, but let's get to the general news. This is my, and by the way, the previous non-farm payroll was rolled back 862,000 contracts, so that might have something, that might, there's always an adjustment to these, so I just find double employment increase kind of strange in this particular economy. I don't see it when I look out the window. That's my only comment. This is investing.com. It's free. You can filter it any way you want. And there are, one of the things I like about it is it only schedules planned traditional economic news and reports, non-farm payroll, PMI, CDI, CMI, you know, those ones, building permits, there you go. And one of the other things I like about it is that I find you can click on every one of the titles turns into a URL. For example, non-farm payroll. There you go. There's all the current ones, whatever. This is going to now be way up here, you know. It's kind of crazy, but maybe. Who knows? So there you are. That's, you can filter it any way you want, as I said, and we are also in earnings season, so don't forget that. Cisco's out this morning. We've got them all under I think all the Mag 7 have reported so far, and I believe that Poppy mentioned yesterday that or Popeye, I should guess it is, maybe, mentioned yesterday that we will have NVIDIA the 25th. I think that's the Lone Ranger there. And there's, you know, I don't bother posting them anymore because look at that. Those are just the American earnings reports for today. And the rest of this week, we will also have quite a few numbers coming out. So be careful about that. We've got CMI and stuff tomorrow and the next day. My other news source is Financial Juice, and I like it because it does pick up non-traditional potential disruptions to the auction. This was not here a few minutes ago. Trump meets Netanyahu at 10 o'clock. Trump speaks at 15:30. And I'm not making any political comment, but these kinds of things, unless you've been living under a rock, can have a real potential to disrupt the auction. So if your goal is, as it should be, to manage your risk, these are really important. Also, on the right side over here is more of a squawk box where this kind of stuff kind of comes out. To be applicable. So that's where we are. Let's get on to the pre-market here. This is a school run Wednesday, so I'll be out of here at 9 o'clock, back around 10. Nothing I can do. Nothing I would do. Pre-market. Well, here is yesterday's RTH. We were about 90% short inventory all night until the report. But we've still only tested up to yesterday's high and are just coming down under it, which is, I hate, because that means we're going to likely our open type will likely be a higher in range, but right on the cusp. This is the micro ES, the micro NQ, and this is my micro composite chart for the micro ES, which is essentially one thing I forgot to mention, sorry. Any of my IRT charting, you can see the chart name, which is meaningless to anybody but me, the instrument, the chart type, the periodicity, and the session in any of these titles right there. So that, you know, should alleviate any question. This is the micro composite chart, which is the RTH session only, and it's a daily chart of the micro ES. These are 1 day candles. Wherever price overlaps, I pull a volume profile around them, and that generates a micro composite VPOC. This finally migrated up here from the 69.45 level yesterday, which is interesting. However, another interesting thing, and I guess this could be a warning from me. I've seen a lot of people that trade micros but watch the minis. Look at the difference, and I don't think that's smart, and I'll tell you why. This is the mini. The micro composite VPOC on these minis is still down here at 69.45, that famous 45 handle. And quite often, you'll notice that the prices are different and the direction is different and the levels are different. So I don't think that's a good long-term idea to watch one and trade the other myself. But anyway, and these are then the micros, or the minis, same configuration. So what do I imagine is going to happen here? Well, it looks to me like, I mean, we've had non-farm payroll out. There's, I'm sure there'll be some conversation there. You can bet there's going to be some risk alert at 10 o'clock when Trump and Netanyahu hit the microphones. So that's, I would say, use extreme caution today. It seems like they are just dying to take this market up to new all-time highs, and we've come out of the doldrums here and pretty much taken back any kind of inventory that was short. So I'm going to stand by and imagine that we're going to probably have an opening drive and then maybe some capitulation with responsive selling. That's just an idea. And, you know, I'm not predicting, I'm anticipating that could be the truth. And let me see if everything else seems to be working here. I think so. So it looks like it's okay. I don't know what happens here, but whenever I have to shut down, after I've scheduled a stream and I shut down OBS, it never picks up the stream off of YouTube again, even though I see it on my OBS. It's been selected on the dashboard. It doesn't seem to work. So I don't know. It's obviously an operator error, but there you go. So I apologize for that. Yeah. What else is going on here? Well, that's pretty much the pre-market. Now, when we look at Bookmap, here is the micro composite column. And this is the DOM, price ladder, order book, whatever you want to call it. These are the prices, and these are the resting liquidity. These are not trades. These are resting liquidity or resting orders, market or limit orders, laying here in the book. This is the high volume node, which pushes from the micro composite. The full session volume profile, which started plotting at 1700 last night. This is the RTH volume profile, which will reset this morning at 8:30, and my statistics column. Session prices from IRT, and I share these, really openly. They start pushing at 1700 Sunday night continuously through 1600 on Friday. If you would like access, or like these to, a link to these, that's no problem. Just let me know in the chat. I share them with a lot of people in the TLab and wherever else. Now this is Blue Boy, which is just nothing more than a vertical line that I slap on the first print of each session. You'll see yesterday's RTH. This is the ETH. And that allows me to keep a firm understanding of what context has been in the session so far. Notice there's no indicators on my Bookmap or my IRT. There is a POC for both RTH and full session. POC is just the price at which the most contracts have traded so far in that session. Ooh, I'm way behind with this thing here. I need to do a TLab snap, so I'll do that right now because those guys will get all shook up. And we'll talk about what that is in a second. And I don't even have the damn thing open yet. That was putting me off. Sorry about that. So here is the TLab snap. Gonna get opened up here, I hope. Looks like, yeah. And what, you ask, is the TLab? Well, it is a Bookmap Discord chat room. This is why I stream and do my journal in the form of a stream. I can't multitask worth two hoots of hell anymore. Let me just get this out of the way, and then I'll explain it to you. There we go. Okay, so the TLab is a Bookmap Discord chat room started by a guy named Tom B. and there's a lot of good people in there. And I was active in there quite a bit early on. Not so much now because I'm focusing on this trade journal, which is this stream. And every day at 8:20, I post this, which is just to give anybody in there a heads up with any kind of numbers that they didn't have or their charting doesn't provide. And I also post the reports for the day at about 6 in the morning. It's kind of just my way of tipping my hat to Tom, and because I now am focused on the stream, and that's where I spend most of the time through the trading day, as you should. Because after all, that's what we're doing, right? We're trading. Now, the TLab is as I said, started by Tom. He's a reported, self-proclaimed professional trader with 46 years experience, and I believe him. I don't have any proof of that, to be, fair and full transparency. He doesn't trade live and he doesn't call trades, but I believe that he's a live trader and successful. So there you are. You just have to cut the wheat from the shafts at some point, and that's I recommend the Traders Lab. It's the only Discord site or anywhere else like that I do recommend. What the hell? That's weird. It's the only book map Discord site that I do recommend because I've not been to the others, and there's a lot of them. So there you go. And it's the only other site that I give any recommendation for at all, actually, except for the stream here. So let's get back to where we started. The next and most important thing for me are the statistics for the day based on the statistical open type, and that's real simple to calculate. There's only two criteria. If we opened right here, right now, where would that compare to previous close? Right there. Higher. How would that price compare to the previous RTH range? Well, there's the previous RTH high. So far, it's higher in range. If they traded up above this level, it will be higher out of range, which would essentially be a gap up. I don't know how crazy they're going to go with this, this non-farm crap. But anyway, well, let's leave it at higher in range. And then I always change the title of that column this way so that when I do a screen snap or look at the stream, I can glance at that column and I know exactly what happened from the ETH leading into the session. Next, I get rid of all of these session statistics because they're from yesterday. So let's look at how those are determined. Those come from the stats, also IRT. Now, this was yesterday, and IRT conveniently highlights the correct open type, but only after 8:30. So that's ought to be pretty obvious. And you notice the blue and the black. Well, if a level has been revisited, they changed the text from black to blue. So yesterday was a pretty level rich or statistic rich environment. I'm not saying that's going to happen today. Like everything I do, the system is real simple. It looks back at the most recent 1,674 trading days. Of those trading days, we opened higher in range 518 of them. Of the days where we opened higher in range, we revisited the overnight volume point of control 80.7% of the time. Overnight volume point of control 80.7. And that, boys and girls, is just as complicated as it gets. And then I'll just step down the list. Overnight mid, overnight high, etc. So we've got 74.7 and 74.3. Mid is hiding here somewhere. I'm figuring it's right here under this probably. Overnight high. Also up here underneath of the previous high. So that's 74.4. Yeah, and this is pretty shaky right here as far as I'm concerned. Overnight mid is hiding from us. See if we can peek at it. I'm pretty sure it's right under there. But one of the problems, or not problems, one of the facts about this cloud node indicator, if there are two flags on the same level, one of them gets covered up. That's it. Next, we have the previous value area high, which is right there. And that is 71.0. Previous close is 69.7. That's one I know about. I know where that is, actually. There you go. IB high somewhere else again. What's going on here? IB high, okay. Previous high. I didn't do a very good job of getting that leveled up there, did I? And the IB high is, I want to do this on purpose, 68.0. Now, I always put those initials because remember the definition of the initial balance. It is simply the high and or low of the first 1 hour of the RTH trading session. That's all. So the minute we open, this is going to disappear to the top above price, and it's not going to be at this level anymore. Now I'm a little bit they may be able to open it down here. I was going to say I'm a little bit cautious about putting in a bunch of statistics because of where we're, all we have to do is trade up here a couple of handles and we're over the top of it, and then it's a gap up. And let me point out that these are just probabilities based on the data set and the subset that I just explained. These are not hard, fast lines in the sand or, bet the college fund or whatever else it is. These are guides and targets. And now I'm going to get rid of that TLab snap because that thing is a big pig when it comes to memory resources. There we go. Okay, let's see here. Now what's happening? We're just bobbing around up here, and that's nerve-wracking to me. We're going to open in about 5 minutes. I suppose it's probably pretty important that we are able to trade, or is it not? Now look at here, we're going to go. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, just in case as a precaution. I always do my version of a gap, and you can do whatever you want, is previous range to open. MC gap low. And that's, what was that? 10.0226. I don't need a space there, I don't think. Oh. What the hell was that? Well, okay, I guess it's no space. And why is that? Well, this would be my version of the gap low, assuming we open above there. I would go from the previous higher low to the current session open. That's how I would determine it. And if we don't open above the previous RTH high, I'll just delete that. It's pretty simple. And we're going to open here in 3 minutes, so let me stop jabbering and get on to something more important. So let's look at the, to be able to trade on Bookmap, you need to activate the trade control panel. You need to choose a method that you will use to interact with the application and trade with your mouse. If you choose chart, the only place you can trade with a mouse is the chart column. DOM, the dome columns, and both is, you guessed it. The next thing that's important for me to do is a couple of three things. Statistics. I want to make sure that I have the live amp account. I want to select multi-brackets. And this is my multi-bracket active. This is the where I implement the risk neutral trade methodology. And that is real simple. First of all, the smallest package you can use, we're going to open here pretty quick, I better shut up, is a 2-lot. 2 lots. You better decide on your stop, and you better have done that before now. First consideration should be your account risk parameters. Once those are in place, the first risk neutral T1 or first target is automatic. It's for half of the package, and it's for the same number of ticks positive as the stop is negative. Then there's the runner. And I'm being quick here because we're going to open in about a minute and a half. And here we are. God darn it. Now, if they open it up here, we're going to be gap up. And that seems to be the mission. So I'm not going to change the statistics or the title until we get an open in and see where the hell we are, frankly. Just irritating. This irrational exuberance around the economy, and it's just, as far as I'm concerned, they're getting everybody as long as they can get them, and they're going to jerk the rug, and that's going to be a real a lot of people going to be crying in their soup over that one, I guess. Okay, 8:30. Let's open in about 10 seconds here, I think. Let's hope this damn thing resets on time. It seems to be acting pretty nice lately. That's kind of cool. There, it reset a little early. 43 seconds early. 15 seconds early, so nothing I can do. I've already got it bumped up. It's got something to do with the internet. The difference of the clock. I have Rithmic set to automatically update the computer clock to Rithmic every 2 minutes. I don't know what else to do. I'm happy to have that working, to be honest with you. So here's the risk. Let me get back to this quickly. We've now opened, and we've opened. We'll see where they put the open, but I believe it's going to be gap up. Or just right on the cusp. Anyway, all of the parameters for my trading are also up here. This can be turned off or on. I don't need any of these tools anymore, so I can confirm that I've selected a method to interact. I can shut that off, get the real estate back. I have cancel and close, and I'm ready to trade. Now we're just going to go flying out. What the hell just happened again? Now it just said again. Why did that happen? I'm lost. Okay, this is all crazy here, it looks to me like. I'm going to now change my IRT to full RTH session from full session to keep the proper relationship between the various levels. Don't need that. Gonna go this way, save that. Yeah, and then we'll go over here, do the same thing. This keeps the relationship between the developing and the regular value areas and things as expected by people that use my session prices. So that's really all that's about. Why I do that. Come on, you son of a gun. All right, I'm just going to let the dust clear here and see what the hell happened. Okay, now what are we doing? Well, I am not sure. I'll be interested to see the stream and see what the hell happened here. So there's the open. I believe we opened lower. Boy, that's close. I guess we did. I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with no gap. There's our open. This was at one point in time the RTH high. Yeah. Okay. I don't think it was a gap up, and I'm going to, my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm going to try this and see what the hell this thing's all about. I don't know why it's doing all this craziness. That doesn't look right. It kind of does, actually. When you look at IRT. Boy, I'm tired of that happening. That used to be something I never even considered. And now it's a problem. Anyway, it's a school bus Wednesday. So I've got to do the school run at 9 o'clock. I'll be getting ready to, I'm not going to obviously put on any trades in the middle of that in anticipation of that. So let's just keep watching. Sorry for the disjointed stream this morning. It's it's been busier than a 1 hour paper hanger over here. Hey, Antonio, bom dia, tudo bem? Interesting. Non-farm payroll. Well, they they only doubled the forecast. Probably pretty true. I guess if you're gonna lie big, huh? So I'll be gone from 9 till about 10. That's usually about how long it takes me to get out to the college and back. I don't trade. My vetted trade at this point is the initial balance trades, which, as we know, aren't even a thing until 9:30 in the morning. I do have a opening range trade, which I've been looking at. That's over here. Now, this would have been a successful trade in that the opening range is 10 handles wide. That fits in the criteria. What happens is if you get to the the tick requirement that I preset above or below the opening range, if that had been reached here, it would have gone long. In this case, it reached here, so it would have gone short, and the stop would be above it. I didn't get that put in because I was busy getting the stream rebuilt when it didn't open on time. And then you just let it run. And the way I've set the profit targets up is the first profit target is the width of the range, or the opening range. That would be down here. And then the second one is just a typical T2. This is the initial balance trade. We can turn off the opening range over there. That's kind of confusing. I'll go through all of that when I get back. What are we doing for volume and whatever? Well, we're at 86% volume at this time over a 20-day period, and the ATR is up here at 5 1/4. I'll explain all of this stuff later when I'm not busy being hurry, scurry, and blurry. Oh, we got a crazy Ivan here. Look out. Crazy having on the POC. So let me see if everything's under control. If you guys see something goofy, let me know. I'm obviously, at this moment, I'm not really sure if I'm a foot or horseback, to be honest with you. I hate it when stuff, I'm one of these kind of people that try to plan things in advance and have my ducks in a row. I don't like it when all of a sudden shit goes pear-shaped, you know what I mean? I don't like that very well. And that's what happens. I've learned a lesson, though, to just whenever I have to turn the machine off or on, just kill the stream that's been pre-scheduled and redo it. Because every time I try to use the pre-scheduled stream, I don't know whether you guys even know what this stuff looks like or not, but just quickly, this is what that's what OBS looks like. Here's my chapter markers. Here's what's going on now. When I turn it back, have to shut down OBS and back up again, this side picks up the stream, but the chat and everything doesn't. And then when the automatic things that I've set to start the stream at 8:30 happens, it goes, no worky, fool. So I have to start over. So there you go. Now you know the inner secrets. Unfortunately, now that I've told you, I'll have to kill you, but it's the way of security, top security. Okay, well, that was quite an open, eh? And I'm pretty sure that we did open. Yes, there we are. Previous RTH high, as I remembered, thank goodness for that. And there's the open. So we did not open in a gap up. And we took a peek up, and looks like we're taking a peek back down again. Maybe the rest of the world also doesn't believe that we more than doubled the non-farm payroll number. And everything else. Heads up on at 10 o'clock. Trump is meeting or whatever, microphone moment with Netanyahu. So that'll be one while I'm probably still away. Be careful of that. Because as you all know, nothing that I'm talking about here is... Do I have that in here now? I did. Let me just look. Yeah, there you go. None of the stuff that whenever I mention those things, there's no political commentary at all. Obviously, the administration and those Trump, whoever can do whatever they want. That's their job, I guess. Or it is now, apparently. But it should not be any shock to anybody, I hope, that's not, been living under a rock, that there is a huge potential risk to our auction whenever those events present themselves, whenever they occur, whenever one of those guys gets near a microphone, and they may say nothing, maybe completely benign and, just good news or whatever. Could also be just a giant one. And I used to have an example here where Trump tweeted at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Friday morning, and the market tanked 229 handles. And the best part was what he was mad about had not really happened, and what he threatened to do did not ever happen. So it was a non-event, but doesn't matter. The market tanked 229 handles. That's why my opening spiel every day is your primary directive as a trader is to preserve your account, which is, and as far as I'm concerned, you do by managing risk. So there you go. That's where that's at. I wish that they would kind of smooth out, you know, and be a little more or less, but that's not their style. That's not their style is reactive, and so that's what's going to be for the rest of this term, I guess, and we'll see what happens after that. But I'm not used to that. I don't think anybody was, and I'm uncomfortable by it, kind of. I prefer to think of the administration and the ruling, you know, the people in charge as being methodical and well thought out and that kind of thing. There we go. And here we go. I was mentioning in the pre-market that the people that trade the micro watching the minis, I have not ever thought that was a really good idea. And here's a perfect example. The micro composite VPOC finally shifted up from the 45 handle to about the 09 or 69 or 99 handle on the micros. On the minis, it remains at 69.45. So I know some people that do that in static and whatever that trade that, but I don't know. I don't know if any TLab guys besides a few that do that on a frequent basis. I don't know, but I think I would be afraid of getting in trouble there, doing that. I think, and I don't really understand why you wouldn't watch the market that you're going to trade. I'm not sure about that either, to be honest with you. So just thinking out loud here. Okay, I think I'm up to speed. I'm going to blow dodge in about 10 minutes. I got my pants on. Got my Levi's on. It's a big event. Just a step in the right direction. It's about 18 this morning so far. By the way, if you are affected by the increased margins, they've been reset, at least with AMP. I forgot to mention that probably. Yeah. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Oh, spank me hard. Blue boy, you lazy devil, you. There we go. Okay, we've got his blueness on duty over here. So as I mentioned in the pre-market, I hope, the purpose of the blue boy here, which is that real, expensive proprietary indicator called a vertical line, is so that I can keep, and I can show you that I have them from, I just put that on the first print of each session, and I can see just glance left as a visual cue or clue or whatever, and know that I have the entire session in view here on the chart. That's the idea, because I want to be firmly aligned with context. And I used to use the VPOC migration flags, these things right here. But I got to thinking that, well, maybe it's better to just really be watching the entire session, and that's where I am now, what I'm doing. And then when you anticipate interacting with the market and trading, you can zoom in all you want to. I also try to keep these at 1 point, and I'm going to turn off or disable the trade control panel when I step away. Just, so the cat doesn't mosey over here and start trading. Fortunately, no thumbs, so they can't use the mouse very well. Okay, well, there we go. So looks like that, looks like all that fantastic non-farm payroll just got erased. There's the, well, not quite. There's the there is the release right there. Yeah, okay. So they've got to get through this. And they're still building on the top of this POC again, which is, I think, pretty interesting. We kept revisiting that 45 handle so many times, I got to wondering if there was something wrong with my data or my, you know, my packages here. But everybody else agreed it was the same thing. It's just pretty phenomenal how often we went back and forth over that thing throughout these trading days. Okay, let's see now. Put on some music here. I think I'm pretty much got everything in business. I'm not in a trade. I don't have any orders on. That's a good thing. I'm going to disable the trade control panel so that doesn't come back to haunt me at some point. Selected, let's see here. I was kind of hurry, scurry, and blurry when it came time to the multi-brackets. I'm not presetting the Execution Pro to automatically scale. I'll do that manually, I think. Got the multi-brackets. I've got the statistics thingy here on AMP, the live account. Yep. Okay. There you go. Now I'm going to take a quick swing through the house and make sure everything's going on schedule for our departure. Oh, imagine that. Yeah. I wonder if they really, well, yeah, I guess they do believe that people think that. That's pretty incredible, considering. But then you have to, you know, look at it on the big picture, I guess. Who's he talking to, I guess, is important. You know, the audience is important, I think. So here we have a, there you go. We did not open in a gap. They're trading them down. Well, let's see what happens when they get to this low volume node from yesterday, which is not far away. And that is also, we are also right on the micro composite VPOC right over here. The chart, yeah, geez, I got everything on the right screen. I'm getting really better at that. Okay. So I am going to step away for the school run. You all have a great, safe, what the hell happened over here? Morning. Oh man, now I screwed up everything. Move my thing here. I shouldn't have moved OBS like that. I screwed things up. I'll have to figure that out now. That sucks. Oh well. Damn it. Shouldn't have showed you guys that. It screwed up my OBS. Anyway, okay, so it's still going, I think, and everything's okay until we start over. I'll deal with it tonight. The sell-off begins. I hope you got on the opening range trade short. Let's see how that would be working out for you. Well, if you shorted right here and your stop was right here, you're kind of a happy person at this point, right? You're down about 10 handles so far. Another 2 handles, that would be T1 and T2. Based on the typical risk neutral methodology. And I'm not saying to do that. I built that opening range trade because there is a trading system behind there, and I did that to back test it to see if all this noise on YouTube about the opening range was really valid or just hype. And ooh, look at us now. Big dump. Big dump a Rooney right over here. Wow. They kicked right through that, kicked through that low volume area, I guess. Looks like to me. Yep. Whoa, now, don't want to do that. Okay, so I have managed to get somewhat back to normal here, I think, and I gotta hit it. You guys have a good one.